Have you ever looked at your life and realized nothing has changed? The same walls, the same job, the same unanswered prayers. And deep inside you whisper, Lord, have you forgotten me? It feels like heaven has gone silent, like your story has been paused while everyone else keeps moving. But what if the season you call stuck is actually the season God calls shaping? What if the stillness you fear is the workshop where He is forging your strength, your character, and your future calling? Stay with me, because in the next moments, you will see that God's silence is never the end, only the beginning. In this video, we will explore one of the most confusing seasons in a believer's life, the season when God leaves you in the same place for far longer than you expected. You pray, you hope, you push forward, yet nothing seems to shift. But the stillness is not punishment, it is preparation. Throughout Scripture, God often shapes His people in hidden, quiet years before He releases them into purpose. Joseph waited in a dungeon, David waited in caves, Moses waited in the desert, and each waiting season refined them for what was coming. Together, we will uncover why God allows you to feel stuck, what He is forming within you, and how to walk through this silent season without losing hope. By the end, you may discover that the place you feared was holding you back is actually the place God is using to lift you up. There are seasons when God stops your movement so He can start your transformation. When everything outside you feels motionless, everything inside you becomes louder. Old wounds rise to the surface. Hidden fears begin to speak. The insecurities you once drowned in busyness now stand before you without disguise. It feels uncomfortable, even frightening, but this stillness is not abandonment. It is revelation. God slows you down so you can finally see what has been shaping your decisions, your relationships, and your faith. Scripture says in Psalm 139 to 23:24, Search me, O God, and see if there is any wicked way in me. This prayer is rarely answered in seasons of hurry. It is answered in seasons of pause, when God holds you still long enough for truth to come into the light. Just as a quiet room amplifies the faintest sound, a quiet season amplifies the whispers of the heart. This is not a trap. It is an invitation. God is helping you confront what you've been carrying, so He can free you from what has been limiting you. When life feels paused, and every door you knock on stays closed, you may think you are wasting time. But in God's economy, nothing is wasted. The season you call stuck is often the season heaven calls school. This is where God teaches lessons that cannot be learned in the spotlight, lessons about humility, obedience, endurance, and trust. These are not taught in moments of applause, but in moments of silence, when you have no one to rely on except Him. Joseph learned leadership in a prison, not in a palace. Scripture says in Psalm 105 to 18:19 that the word of the Lord tested him while he was confined. His circumstances were dark, but his character was being shaped for a future he could not yet see. In your own quiet season, God may be sharpening your discernment, deepening your compassion, or strengthening your resilience. The darkness is not a dungeon. It is a classroom. And the God who called you has not stopped teaching. You simply have to stay long enough to learn what the silence is trying to reveal. Sometimes God keeps you in one place, not because you are unprepared, but because the path ahead is not yet safe. You see delay. God sees danger. You see stagnation. God sees protection. There are opportunities that look promising, but would crush you. There are relationships that appear harmless, but would derail your calling. And there are open doors that shine brightly, but are traps in disguise. In Isaiah 55:9, God reminds you, My ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. You cannot see what He blocks, redirects, or shields you from. But His no is often a rescue in slow motion. His silence may be the hand that is keeping you from walking into something that would break you. Think of David. Before he became king, he spent years fleeing from Saul. It was a season that felt wasted, yet every step in the wilderness kept him alive for the throne God had promised. The same God who protected David's destiny is guarding yours. The delay is not denial, it is divine protection. Before God elevates you, he refines you. Purpose is heavy, and glory is weighty. If the foundation of your character is not strong, the very blessing you prayed for can collapse on top of you. That is why God often keeps you in a season that feels painfully slow, not to punish you, but to prepare you. He is shaping patience where impatience once ruled, integrity where compromise once lurked, and humility where pride once whispered. Scripture declares in James 1:2-4 that trials produce perseverance, and perseverance completes you so that you lack nothing. This refining is not glamorous. It happens in the unseen hours, the quiet mornings, the lonely evenings when you question your own worth. Yet it is in these unseen moments that God chisels away what cannot go with you into the next chapter. Just as gold must pass through fire to shine, your soul must pass through stillness to strengthen. God is not delaying your destiny. He is deepening your character so you can carry it well when the time comes. Waiting is not passive. It is spiritual training. When God holds you in a season you cannot move out of, he is not asking you to sit in despair. He is inviting you to practice faithfulness in the mundane. This is where you learn to show up even when you don't feel inspired, to pray even when heaven feels quiet, and to serve even when no one is watching. Faithful waiting is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right things consistently. Scripture reminds us in Galatians 6-9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Your consistency in this slow season is planting seeds that will bloom in the next. Look at David in the fields before he ever faced Goliath. Look at Moses tending sheep before he ever stood before Pharaoh. Ordinary obedience prepared them for extraordinary purpose. In your own stuck place, God invites you to sow faithfulness, humility, and discipline because the harvest is already on its way. Every silent season has an appointed end. God is a God of completion, not abandonment. What he begins in you during the quiet years, he will reveal in you during the appointed time. Breakthrough rarely arrives with warning. It appears suddenly, the way dawn overtakes the night without asking permission. But long before the light touches the horizon, a transformation has already taken place beneath the darkness. We see this in Joseph's story. After years of being forgotten, Genesis 41 describes a single moment when the king sent for him and everything changed. What looked like overnight success was actually the fruit of years God spent shaping him in obscurity. Likewise, Isaiah 40-31 promises renewed strength for those who wait on the Lord. Waiting is not losing time. It is gathering strength for what comes next. The breakthrough God has for you will not require striving. It will require alignment. And when his timing unfolds, you will realize the season you despised was the bridge carrying you to the future he designed. If you have felt stuck, forgotten, or quietly suffocating beneath the weight of delay, hear this: God has not abandoned you. The stillness you are walking through is not the grave of your purpose. It is the ground where your purpose is taking root. Every silent day has shaped you. Every unanswered prayer has refined you. Every closed door has protected you. And every moment of waiting has carved out a deeper well within your spirit, preparing you to carry what God is bringing next. In time, you will see what you could not see before, that God was working behind the scenes, arranging details, strengthening your soul, and guiding you toward the very breakthrough you have longed for. You are not being left behind. You are being led forward by a wiser hand. So today, let this be your declaration of faith. Write it in the comments. I will trust God in the waiting. Say it until your heart believes it. And if this message spoke to you, I invite you to subscribe. Share it with someone who needs hope. And join this community of believers learning to walk through every season, especially the silent ones, with courage and trust.